The Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains anime has been a godsend in terms of competitive decks. Decks like Trickstars, Goki, Code Talkers, Salamangreats, and even Rockets originated in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains anime. And here, in a little less than a month, in Ghosts from the Past, we are going to be receiving a new anime deck from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains anime, Spectre's Sunavalon. Now, out of all of the characters from the Vrains anime, Spectre might be my favorite. The only character even close to him is I. And part of what makes Spectre so interesting to me is his deck. But rather than just talk about the deck, let's head over to some replays and see the deck in action. Now, I'd normally start by going straight into combos, but this deck is a little complicated and there's a few things that need to be understood before you even start going into the combos. Your starter in this deck is actually a main deck normal monster called Sunseed Genist Loki. This card is how you get access to your extra deck, as your extra deck is extremely xenophobic and needs normal monsters that are plants. Your Link 1 specifically wants this card, because if you Link summon it using it, you're going to get to search your continuous spell, which can then revive Genist Loki. Now, the gimmick of this deck lies in the tree Link monsters. Each one of them, excluding specifically the Link 4, have a unique effect, where if you take damage, by battle or by card effect, they will heal you for the damage that you took and then special summon a Sunvine Link monster, and each one of them can do that effect up to the number of Link arrows that they have. Out of the Sunvine Link monsters, the best one by far is Sunvine Thrasher. This is a Link 1 with 800 attack, and when it's special summoned, it gains 800 attack times the Link rating of one of your Sunavalon Link monsters that you control. If you have out the Link 4, that will make it a 4,000 attack point monster. On top of that, it's a yugioh Guardian, meaning if you attack over an opponent's monster with it, it lets you steal that monster. With its massive attack stat, Thrasher is usually your win condition in most games. You also have access to Sunavalon Melius, which lets Thrasher attack multiple times per turn. Thrasher can also be summoned off of a single Genist Loki. Now I've got 3 combos that I'd like to show. Each one of these combos starts off with a Sunseed Genist Loki and a Sunseed Shadow. Sunseed Shadow can be summoned if you control a Loki. And while in the graveyard, you can banish it in order to make a duplicate of either your Link 1 tree or your Link 2 tree, but doing so is going to lock you into plants. All of these combos also summon your Link 4 tree, and the Link 4 tree lets you search Sunavalon Bloom. Sunavalon Bloom lets you negate the effects of all monsters your opponent currently controls on field permanently. Now our second combo is a 3-card extra link, but this extra link can be done with a different variety of cards. Ultimately, what you need to get to is 3 Link 2s, alongside 1 additional extender and a way to get a card in hand. This is all pretty easy to accomplish because of Sunseed Shadow, since you can just make a duplicate of your Link 2. Now in order to ultimately accomplish this combo, what you need to do is go into Sunavalon Melius. This will allow you to bring back a copy of Loki, but Melius is not once per turn, so you're just going to keep making Melius until you have your U-Link established. Then you go into your Link 1 tree. The Link 1 tree is also not once per turn, but it has to be summoned to the extra monster zone. So then you're going to search your continuous spell, activate it, bring back Loki again, then all you have to do is make a Link 1. Our third combo is going to be done with the same starting cards as our second combo, however, we won't be extra linking. Instead, we're going to be making a board that's a little bit more beneficial for later gameplay. You're going to want to do this if you know your opponent's deck won't be harmed by an extra link. The other big benefit is that you only have to run 2 Melius. The extra deck in this deck is super tight. But possibly the biggest benefit is that you're going to be making the Link 4 in the extra monster zone. The reason this is beneficial is because Bloom has a secondary effect that during the battle phase lets one of your plant monsters gain attack equal to all monsters it points to. Now let's take a look at some more examples of gameplay. Our first replay is going to demonstrate what happens when you don't see a Genist Loki. You don't get to play. Yeah, it's a huge weakness, and I'm not over-exaggerating. If you don't see a Genist Loki, you actually cannot play the game. You are completely at the mercy of your opponent and trying to survive on traps until you can find one. And if your opponent just keeps you from getting to it, you're not going to win. To circumvent this, we play 12 cards in the main deck that are direct routes to Genist Loki on your first turn. However, this deck is super xenophobic. Cards like Draconect do get you to Genist Loki, but outside of specific interactions such as Jasmine or using it to make a Verte Anaconda only because it's a plant, the card becomes completely dead. In a lot of circumstances, the best thing you can do with it is crash it into an opponent's monster, dealing damage to yourself, just so you can heal yourself and summon out a Sunvine. This deck very much is a balancing act. Cards like Pot of Avarice are some of the best extenders you can have, putting back your extra deck and letting you draw cards. But if you don't get to a Genist Loki, the card's completely useless. On the other side of things, if you open too many Genist Loci, or cards that get you to Genist Loci, the best thing you can do is make the Link 2 tree and pass. Now this next replay is going to demonstrate what happens when you get everything you need. Don't take the stuff that I said before the wrong way. This deck is one of the most unique decks out there, and when it gets to go off, it really goes off. It's extremely interesting, and it's really, really fun to play. This deck just has some glaring weaknesses. In a way, it's a lot like a Sky Striker deck, if Ray was a vanilla. And, you know, that's not the best. This deck will probably never be a tier 1 deck. But who cares? This deck is super fun. Plus, I'd love to see a tier 1 deck do what this deck is about to do. This is going to be full anime style right here. No, seriously. Spectre does this in the anime. It's a full extra link. I'm talking 7 link monsters on field all at once. That said, I do think my field's a little bit better. In the anime, Spectre's Thrasher could only attack 3 times. Mine shall attack 5. Yeah, so Melius actually lets your Thrasher attack a number of times equal to the number of Sunavalon monsters you control. So theoretically, you can have a 4,000 attack point Thrasher that can attack 6 times, because you can full extra link your opponent. So you know, a possibility of 7 monsters on field, so 6 attacks for Thrasher if you control 6 total Sunavalon monsters. That's insane! And you know what the best part about this entire deck is? It's an anime deck. Anime decks always have the possibility of getting new support or future support. And this deck's only received, let's see now, 1 wave of support and 2 additional cards. This deck has a lot that can be added to it, and the first wave of support is already a pretty functional deck overall. Alright, so we're back with the deck, and it definitely has some glaring flaws, but you know, I like it despite that. And this deck has a bit more to it than just what I demonstrated in this video. If you choose to play Parallaxes, you can actually stop hand traps by making Rafflesia. The reason I didn't include it in the main deck is because including it in the main either cuts down your Thrasher count or stops you from being able to extra link as a whole because the extra deck is so tight on room. Additionally, this deck probably won't be playable until Lightning Overdrive, because there is a Link 4 that comes out that is exclusively for plants that just works super well in this deck. Thanks for watching the video. Tell me in the comments section down below what you'd like to see next, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.